substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, everybody. Let's pull up the links here first really quickly. Stream. There it is. Why is that not muted? Okay. Copy. Oh, where's Discord? Here we are. Oh. Okay, there we go. Let's see, we have a Waddle this morning. Nice to see you again. Always good to have him around here. He's good trader. Okay, so what's been going on? Well, we had some interesting action yesterday. Really quite a wild ride. During the session, it was a little mixed. We had some move up. It was uncertain if we were gonna, like, you know, come down to here and bounce back up or what. And we just back and forth. I don't think I've ever seen a day where it was kept going all day, but it did. And now in the overnight session, we're substantially lower. So there's definitely some bearishness in here, I would say, in Treasuries. And when we zoom out here, we can see that we're getting very, very close to some of these long-term support levels. So that 119.31.5, it's an area that we've seen many, many times before that I'm going to be watching if they break below. There's also 24 below that. If we get some more inflation, I mean, the PPI was higher than expected. If PPI is also higher than expected, then I think it could push us down even more. I would definitely be preferring to sell, I would say. Overall, and I mean, yesterday was quite a battle, and it looks like sellers won. And given where we're at, I think that this could go. I mean, we may finally actually be breaking out of the range here, but a lot of it depends on the CPI news. So that's about where we're at. Let's just check here really quickly. Do we have anything else? Oh, well, it is Thursday, so we also got the bond auction and the unemployment claims. So we've got to be careful about that. Obviously been a volatile week. Oh, I guess we should also check out here the E-mini. You know, yesterday in the overnight session they did come down a little bit, but we've recovered and the E-mini is opening almost up to where it was. So we need to keep an eye on that because they might decide to go down here. So let's watch that one. What else? Bitcoin is lower. They did go lower. As you can see here, my Bitcoin chart is still a little messed up, but we're about where we were after June 7th. It looks to me like they're gonna make another shot at the lows and go a little bit lower. So we'll see what happens, but doesn't look, that candle is not good, folks. It is not good. And yeah, I'm feeling really good today. I've been, you know, now is like the intensity phase in my weightlifting program, and I've been lifting really heavy Saturday. Felt like total crap on Tuesday. And now I think we're getting into that recovery super compensation phase. hopefully to be super compensated on Saturday. And I think this is one of the areas where I often screw myself up. So I'm going to be really vigilant and careful about that. Sometimes I think with the nervous system being a little bit more touchy, that I get impulsive and I want to make the trades. So I don't want to do that. And I already ate. Like, that's how, I got everything. I actually woke up really early and refreshed. Not like early, but like I woke up before the alarm. That's always good. So I think it's important for me to note for future reference that I'm feeling a little bit different than I did earlier in the week. We'll see how it affects the performance. Gonna be looks like it's a little bit quieter of a day in chat. You can see a few less people. Nope, sitting at the low here, going into the news. I'm really tempted to just sell it short here because if that PPI is any good, we are going way down. We could go all the way to the 24, just 24.5, just like that. You can see that the media is trying to pile on to this Kavanaugh piled up credit card debt purchasing Nationals tickets story. Well, that's kind of interesting. So A-Waddle wants to try something. He's going to say, I'm going to say what I'm seeing and doing. I figured I'd do it without a headset. May as well potentially have someone listening. Would be good to get a few traders in there would simulate problem. Yeah. I think that's a great idea. I found that when I got into the voice chat And when I pay too much attention to the chat and I start yapping to you guys, that it's too much of a distraction. So I'm going to refrain for today. But I think that's a great idea. It could be a really great idea for some people. Okay, they are just selling it into the poll. Like it's pulled and they're selling it. I should have gotten my squawk up. Okay, so the news comes through. The CPI was 0.2 and it was expected to be 0.2. And so it looks like some of those people that were selling into it have taken it off. Donald Trump has singled out Germany for not spending more on defense, but most NATO countries spend less than their commitment to. Yeah, but Germany is like way down there when they shouldn't be. What does that mean? Unfounded CPI. So I'm waiting here. It looks like this number may be more nuanced than just the headline number. Let's see if I can get the report itself. Oh, core CPI was 0.1. Oh, geez, this is just gonna push us all the way back up. That would be something if it did, wouldn't it? Well, I think in this whole area between 0.5 and 0.4, there's pretty thick profile from overnight. And I'm not so sure that that's an area I really would like to trade. Okay, so they got back up to the VWAP, but they're not able to trade above it. Not yet, at least. There is some interesting stuff going on in the E-mini. So are they gonna sell the E-mini? Well, we will watch this carefully here. Oh, the cam's not working today again. Let's just do that so you guys can see it. Man. So the Treasuries went down 4 ticks off of 2201. This looks like a level break trade right there. The problem is that if they break it, there's still the 120 to hold us. So, even though it came down to it, it came down so quickly that I think you could probably justify taking a level break trade there. But I don't think that the payoff is worth it, so I'm just going to watch this one. If it goes. Yeah, alligator saying simply back to the pre-data level. All buying absorbed and no follow through with this. I mean, that probably is what's going on, but it's just kind of looks weird to me. And 31.5 has been a magnet before. It's only like 3 ticks. 2 ticks if you look at that one. I don't want to mess with it. Like ticked up. Yeah. Donald Trump, on top of it all, Germany just started paying Russia, the country they want protection from, billions of dollars for their energy needs coming out of a pipeline from Russia. Not acceptable. All nations must meet their 2% commitment, and that must ultimately go to 4%. that I agree with them. This one really, really bothers me. Like, I just don't understand the logic here in this. That like they're all really concerned about Russia and the threat that they might be to Western democracy. And here he is, here they are, basically giving the Russians the money that they need to do all of the nefarious things they're complaining about. I just don't get it. Well, I'm sure glad I didn't try playing that edge there. So it looks like that level break filled. Probably would have been a good buy at 0.5. Maybe you've taken 0.25 and got 2 ticks out of it. Well, what I see right now is a very range-bound market. See how the level 2 is very, very equal on both sides. Or very, not, I don't want to say equal, very thick on both sides. Let's reset it since we're where we're at. And when you look at this bottom column for the pulling, you're seeing pulling both ways. This pulling right here, what I guess would be considered a lure. But when I was first looking at there, I saw that was maybe a level break. And of course, if they don't hit it, if they get buried, and I would say they didn't have enough momentum at that point. It seemed like they had momentum going into it, but then they're in a range. So I think that's something I should remember for next time, but when it's on a range, but anyways, 69.21, and then they get buried, or 2 ticks higher. But the problem is then you got this on the other side that they can't get above the VWAP. Oh, CPI misses after hotel prices drop by most on record. China's Commerce Ministry says China has done its best to avoid trade friction escalating. It is solely U.S. responsibilities for current situations. I'm wondering if China is going to try and mess up the markets again. I mean, they've been trying to scare the equities, and I think that the fact that we're not lower is probably really frustrating them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start yapping again just before the open of the E-mini. So there they are, back to 0303 half. Nobody wants to trade 03 half. That's the top of the range that is held now twice. See if they're able to trade through it, or even if they're able to trade it. Man, it's been a while. Okay. Well, they might trade through it. I see ZF trying. Oh man. Look at that. Yeah. That one's interesting. I think that could be good for a continuation. And they're holding it here on the other side. Right where we had the crazy stuff yesterday too. Huh. Isn't it? No, it's not quite. It's not quite the same spot. Okay, they actually weren't able to hold it. I'm gonna wait to see this battle at 14.5 resolve. hard for me to predict which way this imbalance that's developing in the 5 year is going to go. I think my feeling at the moment is that that should be good for continuation, but it's going back and forth there at 14.5 several times now. And we're kind of at a potential, we're kind of at resistance here in the 10 year. This I think is a tough call. So I don't know how this thing in the 5 year is going to turn out. I mean, I thought that was pretty solid buying there, even, and it's not continuing through. And if we sell, are we going to break down through the other side? Like, I don't know. I think that the 120, the 31.5 is going to be really significant resistance. You could sell it here and try and take it off on the other side. And maybe they get a higher low and buy it there. But I think, especially since this has been a profile range since the overnight session, I think that we should not try to make too hasty of a prediction here. Okay, so now you see they traded back up through it. And this offer is lifting a little bit in the 10-year. Now, at the same time, the E-mini is slowly pressuring higher. They're not hitting 14 3/4 in the 5-year. And this, honestly, right here in the 10-year, that could just be a trap. Like, I'm not so sure that 3,000 is reliable. Will say, though, I mean, there's not really any size above us anymore. The highest we got is like the 43 at 04, and I don't think if we tick up through 03 half, it's not going to be 44. Okay, so we tick down, and they're stacking at 03 half. It's stacking and pulling at 03 half as it ticks up and down. I'd say it's been net selling here, and they're not getting anything out of it, though. Well, it's very slow. That's not the kind of action that you tend to see ahead of a breakout higher, is it? When we're forming a zipper here in the 10-year. Hmm. Was there a big offer at 05? I did tick up in the bond. I see them hitting 14.7 now. Looks like a lot of people saw that and just clicked in. I don't like clicking into a zipper, certainly not the top of a zipper. I'm feeling sleepy again, guys. It's just been such slow opens this week. Hmm. Okay, down tick. Oh, 05 went offer again. So if we take zipper, they ticked up. 5-year hasn't. Pretty crappy action here. Okay. Kumo, I will sue if the SCOTUS overturns Roe. What? Did you really say that? You understand what the Supreme Court is, right, Kumo? There's no way he actually, that's what he really said. Because I will sue when the Supreme Court acts and I want the New York state law in place. Okay, kind of weird. I don't think they're gonna straight up overturn Roe v. Wade. They'll just say, like, no late term abortions, like they'll say No abortions after 12 weeks or something like that. That's what's going to happen. Okay, well, they are getting more confident in buying little 3/2, but it's still just like little nibbles here and there. Maybe we got a little bit of a sell there. Okay, you tried to buy through it, but it immediately went offer. Okay. Hit back the other way, and that's the same thing. And this is going to be tick number 9 in this range. If they touch 025, come on. You know you want to. There you go. Sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. I don't think I want to take a trade here. It might break out, but I gotta go do something real quick, so I will be right back. Okay, well, they ticked up. Just a few orders, but they did tick up. I don't know. I mean, I did kind of think that maybe they were going to come up, but no. Okay, so now I'm seeing. This big order here. So we got something going on now. A big order there showed up. And this right here at 05. Okay, so that one right there. So I thought they were pulling a little bit too easily there. And so I'm not surprised that they traded 23 there. Also, a big order here. Relatively large. E-mini's still just kind of skidding along, isn't it? It's like anytime that it gets up in that 90 area, it's where they start absorbing it. Okay. It might have been a significant downtick. The ZF is down below its thing now. Like the 10-year broke out of the zipper, but the 5-year did not. And the amount that went through at 04 at first was very, very low, and then it pulled and they traded into it, and there was an iceberg there. And the 5-year appears to be selling. Okay, the big order has moved down. Okay, there's your tick up. They're gonna tick 04 again. Okay. Five-year, not quite broken out yet still. It's moving around. So it's moved around between this range quite a bit, but now all three of these prices are somewhat thick. It's these two prices in the 10-year. Meanwhile, in the bond, you've got 1742. So we're getting some spreading going on here. Is that what this is? What would that mean? Would that mean long the knob? I think that must be what's happening, is long the knob. Then why would you put the big orders like that? That makes sense. Because this is really like buy the 30-year and sell the 5 and the 10. Big orders moved around quite a bit here in ZB2, even though it's not moving. And it's the timing of it is curious too, because the E-mini opens up in 10 minutes. The trade last time was to go into the fake order. So like to sell the bond right now or to buy the 5-year. But we can't do the opposites of them, and it doesn't make sense. It's too close to the ESM open, so I don't see a trade here. I think something's gonna happen, but can't predict it, so I don't see the trade. Okay, so it just moved down onto 14.7. Yesterday's entire drop recovered in pre-market trading. So here's a thought. If the E-mini is like recovered and ready to buy today, why would bonds be up? Either the E-mini is not going to go down. Sorry, either the E-mini is not going to push itself up, it's going to fall, and that's going to push treasuries higher. Or equities are going to move up, and equities are, sorry, what's happening in treasuries is a trap. Okay, so they just buried somebody at 0.3/2. You can hear my bird making little happy noises. It's too warm in this room, that's why I'm getting sleepy, I think. The computer heats it up. I've never, these big orders, like especially that one in the 5 year, and the way that it's like, it's kind of weird how it's like slowly come towards. So look, they just moved it down again onto the offer. And meanwhile, the bids have been absorbing. They've been pulling and hitting the, see that bottom one. I don't know what this is. This is really weird. Hmm. He was maybe almost about to get filled and he yanked it up a tick higher. Now they've moved it back down. That's really weird. Okay, here comes the E-mini. Open. Push higher. Not getting much out of it at all. Are we gonna get a collision here in the 5-year now? I mean, look, you don't put 5,000 at 14.5 unless you really want to sell it. Because the chances of you getting a lot of that filled. There you go. There's the collision. Well, usually when we get a collision like that, we can continue for a little bit. But the E-mini looks like it's pushing higher. There was a buying spike in ZB, but the thing down here, it never got filled. I'm still not sure what that was all about, but the 10-year definitely just pushed through a lot there. And we're getting a bit of a move like that they are thinking they're gonna kill the E-mini. So they did get up to the 2791 again, and there was absorption. Now we're at 05. I think this is a spot where I would like to take it for a continuation, but okay, but hold on. Okay. So when it came up there, I thought, okay, maybe they want a continuation here now. Like it's at that point. But the level 2 there was roughly equal, and I'm thinking, well, that doesn't make much sense that neither side is willing to get out of the way, and then they buried this guy at 04.5. Now the bid at 04 is looking like the weaker side. Now I'm kind of wondering if we sell through this in the 5-year, they sell back down to 14.5, which is where there was a collision. We're going to put a C for collision. If they can tick down to that and then tick below that, we could get a good move back down. And even after all that buying, we didn't get above the 1 standard deviation from the VWAP, so we're technically still in range-bound territory. That was a good buying spike for sure. I mean, that would be like a bunch of buying that would have to just completely unwind. And you would need support in the E-mini, which the E-mini doesn't appear to be doing at the moment. In fact, the E-mini looks like it wants to go down. Like there was some buying and it just didn't turn out for them. This is where we could maybe put that stop volume one. See how this works out. Okay, well, the offer has reduced considerably. Many people are buying. I was able to get the fill. Well, that one worked really well, but I think that it did go put in a limit order and I got filled on the 742 coming back, perhaps? I don't know if they would really work that way in live, but let's go with it. Okay, so they just they just ticked back down and poured 4K on it. That I don't think should be happening. No, sure. 5-year might still decide they want to go higher. E-mini still looks negative. Yeah, Bears just made a pretty strong push there that looked like maybe the buyers were gonna take it there, and then the Bears just smacked it back down really hard. And now they're looking at buying again in the Treasuries. So there was still a lot of volume that they had to trade through to go bid 05, but it was a pretty good buy through there. And I believe, just based on the chart pattern and everything in the E-mini, that we could continue down possibly to 2780. I think that the flow in the E-mini supports it going down, and I think that the flow in the 10-year supports it going up. And what I'm seeing in the spreads also appears to support the 10-year going up. Okay. Well, they went offer again. It's not a strong offer, but now the buyers are buying again, and it's not getting through it. We're getting this, the correlations are equal, but just because the E-mini goes down to 2786 doesn't mean that the 10-year will get above 05. Let's keep that in mind, right? We're making this trade because the order flow in the 10-year supports the further move up, not because the E-mini. Okay. Thanks, Minution. A lot that's traded there at 05. And 2786 is our first like real support, the place I see in the 10-year. Oh man, they're gonna trade a 10k here now at 05. I mean, you're right there on the edge, but there is some orders at 2785. Okay, there's a really strong uptick. Holy crap. They bid almost 5,000 on the uptick, and the offer almost completely pulls away, and the 5-year ticks up. think this has got some legs. This could have some legs. We're back into yesterday's range. 07 area is going to be critical. That was where we had trouble yesterday. Okay, so I'm still seeing like really strong upticks, and as long as I continue to see that, I think I want to stay long. Even though the offer's not pulling away that time. See, CZF continued to uptick. Okay, AWADL has a good point at 13 to 16. Okay, so at the moment, not an appetite for 06.5. But the pressure, the buy pressure is not letting up. They're just not spilling over. And it kind of reminds me of the down move from yesterday, where there's just a lot of absorption, but they just plow through it anyways, which makes it very difficult to read if you're looking for a reversal. Okay, but here the 5-year, you see the 5-year buy through there? It took a lot, and they were only able to bid 500. Okay, now they've bid 1,000. I want to see this, the 30-year tick back up to 13. Okay. I may regret taking that off, but I think 2 is okay for now. We're like right at the bottom of what has been significant resistance, and I don't want to. It's not like a huge bounce yet, but the E-mini is bouncing. Yeah, so I'm just looking back at my chart. The treasuries started moving up before the E-mini started falling, and it wasn't until we were well on our way to really moving that the sell and the E-mini really picked up. So I would have to say that the E-mini is definitely the leader here. I maybe should have tried for 3, but okay. So there was a little bit of a sell there at 06, but it just didn't affect the level 2 at all. Okay. And now they're selling it. Yeah, look at that. And there was some absorption at 06 too. Well, it seems like the buyers don't want to give up, but are they going to be able to bury them? There's E-mini back to VWAP. Delta shows that sell was significant. Where did I take that trade? 05 to 06. So it really would have been good for 3. I should keep that in mind that if we're risking 2, we really want to get 3 out of it. I think that that third tick would make a big difference because most of these winners that we've had all week have been 2 tick winners. We haven't been getting 3 to 6. Now I think that that was a trade that some people would have said is chasing, but I mean I saw the pressure and it followed through for sure. I mean, I was long before the rush of sheep, essentially. So I'm okay with it. I think an earlier me would have held it. I think an earlier me would still be holding it. But that right there, that's too much of a. I'd really like to see it pull back. The 5 year went so far in such a short amount of time. I really don't think that they can just push up to new highs here in the 10 year. I think that they need somewhat of a pullback first. Okay, there's a good downtick off of absorption. Yeah, it doesn't stay. A bit of the sleepy coming back into me. Okay, so a little bit more serious buying here in the E-mini. They're almost back up to the top. Buyers trying to buy back up through 6 and having trouble. Tried 3 times there. 4th time, they make it, okay. And it doesn't hold. If I see that 05 half start to get weak, I might mark it into that, because there was a lot of buying here at 06, and if they get buried, it could come back quickly. At the moment, though, they're not ready to do it, so I'm still not sure if it's going to go up or down from here. I need to see somebody lose. Okay. Now seller's trying to hit it down again and the bid is holding. And they're making some good hits in the 5-year. Should reset this because the 5-year just went up so far. Man. I guess I should point out too that the 5-year, or sorry, the 30-year, did basically is done 3 ticks back. There's still a pullback territory. Don't let my yawns get to you. I didn't know that. It's Amazon Prime Day. They have a good solid state hard drive. I might buy that. Still just range bound. You know, I've found that it's impossible to determine which direction it's going to come out of these kind of zippers. Especially when you get a zipper. Big move, continuation up, and then another zipper, you know, starts to get really frustrating. Okay. So now I'm seeing this big offer here at 06.5. And I've been waiting to see if these guys at 06 get buried. And the E-mini looks like it wants to make a higher high. Let's see if we can get filled here. Yeah, it looks a little questionable, to be honest. I want to just mark it in, but I don't feel like that 05 half is a safe price to do it at. Yay! I would really like to trade Chinese bonds. Okay, there it was. Boo. Honestly, would not necessarily be hugely bad to have chased it at 05 right there. But at the moment, I'm just not feeling it. So there's all this volume here in the 10-year that's gone long that has to unwind. I really think that we could go back to 04. So you get two ticks off of that, but I think I just missed it, so it's okay. I should have been paying closer attention because I definitely could have gotten filled at 06. I'm going to look at here. The cumulative delta. 33, there's still about 6,000 to go. They might just take it all off here at 05. That's okay. The E-mini made the push but hasn't actually broken up off the high yet. It's just like sitting just below it. I think you buy that. Let's see. Since the treasuries came down a bit, I think you could say you buy it. Yep. Now I want to see a cascade here. Nope. Wow. In my local area, I-80 reopens after truck carrying radioactive dirt catches fire near Grantsville. Oh my gosh. How have we done? I don't know if I'm going to take another trade, to be honest, guys. I know, super boring and disappointing, but really wish that, well, yeah, we had this one trade, and the first moment that I thought, maybe it's long, was here at 03. But we had some resistance at 04, well, sorry, 03 half, essentially, and it was like, that was just not a very good place to buy, right? And you can see here, here's the profile. So then it stepped up, and it started doing that at 03 half and 04. And then there was a move up. So I think I could have gotten into this earlier, maybe at 04, and have taken 4 out of it. But, you know, I didn't really see like the pressure for it to just like totally continue until it got here, because there was like a rush up, and then, oh hey, they're still having continuation pressure. So yeah. And now that one did go all the way up to 7. So I actually technically could have gotten 4 ticks on it if I had been really patient. So I wouldn't say that it was an amazing trade or anything. But I did get 2. Now I'm wondering if we look at this, let's not look at today, let's look at like the whole week. Okay. Wait, is that right? Yes, okay. So I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 winners and 2 losers. Wow. So I'm hitting 60% this week so far. But I'm only getting +2 on them. And even though I think there was a couple of these that could have been a lot more, I think there was a one that I thought that was going to be worth 8. So I think we're doing a couple of things right, but we can do better than that for sure. I think this is a week where there should have been several days where I could have made at least 4 ticks. Yeah. So I'd really like to see that fixed next week. So next week, what are we going to do? Well, I mean, we still got tomorrow, and tomorrow's going to be a tough day too, I think, until Friday and everything. Next week, I think we're going to do some voice chat. So we said we were going to do that with A-Waddle, and then there's going to be we gotta get those profits up. We gotta make 3 and 4 ticks. I think that on a lot of these I said that I could have gotten 3, so. But it's overall. I'm gonna take a picture of this, post it. Okay, well. It's still super slow. It went back to the 06 too. Which means we could go higher. I see anything. See that the JPY is down. See gold moving up a little bit, and I see the bund moving up a little bit. This does not look like risk on. Not yet, at least. They still seem concerned. Let's make our Bitcoin charts while we're sitting here. Look at that 162077. Look at how many big orders are above us now. Where are they gonna go? Guess I was right, it should have just taken that long. Like, you should have taken it long at 05 half. Somewhere around here. Then you'd get 3, 4. I just don't want to mess with it. Oh, oh. Wait. Hold. Back up. Am I hearing this right? So if a country feels that it is being treated unfairly in trade, it's okay for them to impose tariffs on the other country because the World Trade Organization rules are imperfect and sometimes don't alleviate the problem. That's what China just said. And isn't that exactly what Trump has said, is that China has been cheating us for so long that we are forced now to respond with tariffs? And now they're using that same excuse back. I just... Dude, I don't know if China is like... Did they realize the hypocrisy when they say that? Do they know that that's completely ridiculous, and that people, they're just trying to play it off because that's the way that their propaganda works? Or do they really believe it? It's just sorry, I know I might sound crazy right now, but I'm really shocked that they would say that. They would say that. It sounds so dumb to me. Well, well, it is what it is. You're gonna see how this trade war thing plays out. It's gonna be interesting. Well, it looks like Uzi got his one tick very quickly, so that's good for him. All right, well, it is now 8:30. I got my politics in, and I really don't know what this thing is doing, because, I mean, the E-mini went up there. I don't understand why Treasuries have been moving higher. It's clearly more than just the E-mini. I mean, Treasuries have been making their moves first. So I'm not quite sure what the driver here is. I think that some of what we saw down at the bottom was just buying because we were at very long-term support levels. But I don't really see a reason to be going into yesterday's range either. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. And all this behavior in the bond and ZB is incredibly odd and unusual. It'll be interesting to study and see if it continues doing this in this market. Anyways, I guess that's pretty much all we've got, so I will see you guys tomorrow.